Are you stressed out about putting on a preschool performance? Maybe it's a spring concert or even a moving up ceremony. Are you nervous because all you can think about is what could go wrong that day? Well, in this video, I will provide you with some helpful suggestions so that you can focus on the performance and have less stress. And stay tuned to the end because I have a little gift for you. Hi there, I'm Ms. Celeste, your co-teacher and former classroom teacher, and I help new preschool teachers develop efficient systems and processes for effective classroom management. In this video, I will approach those programs, performances, ceremonies from more of a classroom management perspective. So I'm suggesting these things in the video to alleviate that overwhelm and stress that you may be feeling around putting on a performance. So again, I am not going to be talking about which songs to choose or costumes or any of that. I'm gonna basically focus on things that could upset your classroom management. So let's get right into it. So the first thing you should consider is the location of this performance. Is it going to be in the classroom? Is it going to be in an auditorium or a gym? All of those things will definitely affect your classroom management. They can affect your plans depending on the setup, maybe dismissal, arrival time. All those things can be affected just based on the location of where you're having this performance. So wherever it's going to be, you have to make sure that you are practicing those entrances, those exits, and even transition times. Make sure that you are including those things, and you may have to adapt them. So one year I did it in my classroom. I did both the winter concert and the spring concert in my classroom. So I had to visualize the layout, how things were going to be set up, where the children were going to be standing, and all that stuff, and arrange the classroom environment accordingly. We've also done it in a gym, which now that was a whole different place that I had to figure out, okay, how are we going to come in? How are we going to leave? When are we going to come in? When are we going to leave? How are they going to stand? What are their positions going to be? So there's a whole host of different things to think about depending on where the performance is going to be held. So another thing to consider is how long is the performance going to be? Are there any guidelines set by administration that you have to meet? So what you have to do, depending on the guidelines that are set, you have to decide what you can include, because you may want to leave, well, you should leave time in between each song, just so, for instance, if you have to give the children musical instruments, or if you have children that are going to be saying something, you want to make sure that you are allowing time in between the songs so that you can meet those time requirements. You also have to take into consideration your children. What can they handle as far as the time? And that may be something that you want to discuss with your administration as well, if they are telling you that you have to do it for X amount of time and you think that time may be too much for them. Another thing to do is involve your parents. So look for parent volunteers that can help you with your planning process of your program. Remember the quote, closed mouths do not get fed. So either put out an all call to your parents, or maybe there are specific parents who have offered in the past. So tell them exactly what it is you need help with. So maybe it's the decorations, maybe it's directing people or ushering people in the room. Maybe you need someone to set up chairs if it's in your classroom. So the purpose of asking parent volunteers is to take some of that load off of your shoulders so that you can be sure to spend time focusing on the concert. So in the past, I have had volunteers help with the backdrop. I gave them ideas of what I was thinking, told them what the theme was, what songs would be included, and then they could put together something. But you have to be willing to let go of the creativity. You have to give it to them. You have to be willing to let go of that. And as teachers, I know it's really hard to let go of that responsibility because we want to be involved in all aspects of it. But for this, if you want less stress, you have to make sure that whatever it is you give them the run of for helping you, you have to be willing to accept the results. So if you want more control, maybe you can sketch out something real quick and then give it to them. So another thing that you need to consider is the rehearsals. How are you going to do that? Are you going to include it in your lessons? Depending on your school, do you have a music teacher that comes in that can help teach the children the songs that you want in the program? Or do you have to do it on your own? Probably incorporate it into your transition times. Maybe you can incorporate it into your lessons. You can probably play the music during arrival time, play it during center time, just so the children are always hearing the songs. Another important thing when you're doing the rehearsals is the closer it gets to the actual performance, start moving them into the space of where they're going to be performing. So if that is possible, if it is in an auditorium, if it's in a gym, if it's possible to get them to that place to do the rehearsals, then that way when the day comes, it's not a shock to them. So a great way to get the children used to performing, look for an audience to come in and sit and watch the children perform. And this is a way to get them comfortable. And as you're doing this, you're moving them closer and closer to how it will actually be the day of. And you can also see what works and what doesn't during this whole process. This is a perfect opportunity to get an idea of what it could look like the day of. Another thing that may not always happen when these kind of big things are going on in the classroom or in the school, talking to the children about these changes that are going to be taking place. So you want to talk to them about how this is going to change their day so that they can feel more secure as the day approaches. You want to make sure that you're prepping them, because you don't want them to leave one day and the classroom looks the way it normally does, and then they show up for this performance and they're like, what happened to our classroom? So that is also a distraction because they don't know what just happened. So you want to make sure that you're talking to them about those changes that are going to be taking place. Another thing that you want to think about is what happens after the concert. Are you going to have just a party? What are you going to do afterwards? Again, how are you going to set up the classroom environment so that this can happen? And talk about the expectations that you have for that period of time. So what happens when the children are waiting to perform? What are you going to have them do while they wait? Because they're waiting for all their classmates to come in. You have set a time for arrival. You're waiting for all the children to arrive at this time. So what are you doing with those children, especially if they're in a different area? What are you going to have them do? You have to figure out what can they do during that time and where will they be. And then you have to think about what is going to happen the rest of the day. After the concert, after the party or the light refreshments, what happens then? Is it going to be business as usual, or is it going to be something different? If you're finding value in this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up so that other preschool teachers can find it as well. So now that you've had the concert, you had the refreshments or the party, what do you do for the rest of the day? So you do want to talk to the parents to figure out what are their plans. Some children may be left for the day and some children may go home with their parents. And then there may be some children who do not want to stay because their parents are there, so so it depends on a lot of different things on what you do for the rest of the day. What you could do is have yourself a plan. It doesn't have to be as formal as it is any other day, but if you have just a basic idea of what you want to do for the rest of the day, that could help. And then communicate it with the children so that they know, again, if there are any changes that are going to happen. So you have to decide if it's going to be business as usual or if you're going to include any types of changes that will happen from the end of the party to the rest of the day. And then make sure that the children know what that entails. If you are still there hanging on with me with all these suggestions, go ahead and comment gift in the comments so that I know that you have gotten to this part in the video. So now the part that I had said at the beginning of the video is I have a gift for you. The gift that I have for you is a preschool performance checklist to help you get through your concerts and programs or ceremonies that you may be putting on throughout the year. So that is my gift for you. I'm going to leave the link in the comments and in the description, and it is going straight to my TPT store. It is free and it is for you. So I hope that you can use it, and I hope that it can help you alleviate some of that stress and that overwhelm that you may feel. So that's my gift for you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have found some value in this video, and I hope that the suggestions that I have given will help you. And I'm so happy that you stuck around for the gift, and I would like you to go ahead, if you haven't already, give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when the next video will be posted. Until then, I'll see you soon. Bye.